We are called to order, and the first procedural motion we will have, or the procedural issue that we will discuss, will be spearheaded by David Kahn. David?
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, David.
Good morning.
And welcome to our task force meeting. So, as a procedural issue, at the last meeting, there were some alternates who did some of the nominating for the chair and the vice chair. And per the rule, the nominations can only take place by the primaries. So we are going to renominate and revote for the chair and vice chair, and then we can continue with our normal meeting.
Can I do the nomination for chair for John Smith?
Okay.
I'll second that nomination.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Right? Congratulations, John.
Thank you. And thank all of you. Okay, we don't have a formal agenda other than the
Vice
memo.
chair.
We gotta do the vice chair.
Or do we have, oh, I see it, right here.
So,
Vote
can I
too
also
soon?
get a nomination for the vice chair?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any seconds?
Second.
Conversation? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, congratulations, Jim. All right, and I will remind everyone, when you're talking, please make sure you talk in the mic. That way anyone watching live streaming can hear. Okay, so in front of everybody is an agenda for our meeting today. We also have the same information on a PowerPoint for anyone to view.
Next item on the agenda is the minutes from May 1st. I believe everyone has received those. Do we have any discussion before we take on a motion?
Mr. Chair, motion to adopt?
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes from May 1st. Further discussion? None appearing. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, like sign. Passes. Follow-up. Can the primaries speak with alternates in private? And I believe that the decision of the staff was that that was permissible. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. I sent an opinion to all the members of the task force and the alternates, letting them know that it's not subject to sunshine if the member wants to speak with their alternate, so you're free to do so.
Anything further? Any questions? The agenda calls for us now to nominate the applicants. We, at the last meeting, voted that each task force member would be asked to provide two choices from the pool of eligible choices, which has been narrowed down by staff, to those who only meet the criteria as set by the county commission. So that we ended up with somewhere around 98, and I believe that 3 persons have withdrawn since that time. So these applicants, once we decide as a group who the two are, and everyone, the beauty of this is that everyone here makes sure that you get your 2 nominees into a position of being interviewed, and that's important, I think, for everyone. Then whatever that number is, the range will be between 14 and 2, and I think that we will not hit either one of those. It'll probably be somewhere, I would think, between 6 and 9. That's a probability anyway. So the nomination process is before you on the agenda. Quickly take a look at that. We've already received the link. We all have hopefully reviewed those applicants. Now with our burning eyes and sore eyes from that chore, what I understand is that the resume or the application or both of each nominee will be shown on our TV screens for you to refer to if you brought nothing with you. As I understand it, I'm supposed to read each name and ask if there are any nominations for whoever that person is, and then invite comments. If there's no response, then that applicant will be moved to the next round. If a task force member says yes, I'm presuming that that will be one of the two people that you want. And then there will be discussion and a vote. Have I got it right so far, David? Then, if the majority of the task force votes yes, that applicant will move on to the next round. If a majority votes no, that applicant is out, will not move on to the next round. All correct so far? Shall we go ahead and talk, before we get into that, shall we go ahead and talk now about whether the task force members prefer that we have in-person interviews or virtual Zoom-type interviews, or some combination? There was some discussion that the individual applicants could choose between Zoom or in person, but I think we ought to hear from the task force members about this before we decide.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I believe we're going to narrow it down to somewhere between 9 and 14, as you just described. I believe that it's imperative that they think the job is important enough to them that they be here. If it's an international person, maybe Zoom is not out of the question. But other than that, I think strongly that the application should be here and live, because you can read people much better in front of your face than across a TV screen.
Kim, I believe you had your hand up.
I did. I had a question. I just needed a little further clarity on the nomination process. So, as each representative of the district, if I nominate an individual, based on the descriptive listed, does that mean we kind of do a round-robin vote and you all can disagree with my nomination and they not move forward? So I don't actually get a vote. It's...
Well, David, if we go through this process of each person being addressed individually, won't each task force member's two choices show up as a yes, but all the rest would show up as a no? Isn't that the way it would work? So that at the end we get down to the end of the list, we will know by then what each task force member's two choices are.
We will know by the end who the two task force members nominees are. However, with Sunshine, it's a nomination ultimately from the task force going to the board. So the task force does need to agree with a majority that the person you're nominating is going to move forward.
So probably the best way to do that, at the end of reading the list and voting yes or no, we would ask each task force member to name their two choices to be sure that we are accurate in our voting, correct?
Actually, we'd be doing that as we're going through, so when we get to that person's name, that would be the time that you say, this is who I'm nominating.
Okay. And then at the end, we will have each person's two nominees, hopefully, already on the table, correct? Does
So the
everybody
vote will take
understand,
place
or have-
immediately after. So you call out the name, I nominate that person. Then the vote from the group would take place immediately after, or
Correct.
it's saved till the end?
It would be immediately after.
Okay.
So we'll vote on each person as we go.
But as we voting on them, if we nominate them, we then go through and describe why we're nominating them
Correct.
at that time, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And there will be open discussion for each person.
Now, I guess we're back to the list. It says something about the chair reading each applicant's name, and are we going to have a list up here that I can refer to?
In your packet,
It's in the packet?
in everyone's packet is a list of all of the names.
Got it. Given my elderly station in life, that's helpful. Good. Do we have anything else to discuss before we get into the list of names? Hi, Marcella. Nice to see you. All right, so shall we start? And what we do is I read the name out and I ask for discussion,
Correct.
and then if there is no discussion, we take a vote.
Yes.
Okay.
And on the screen, you will see the individual's resume, for anyone who doesn't have it.
Well, let's kick it off. We start off with Aaron Vasilati. Discussion, please. None appearing. We will take a vote. Should we do this by individual vote or verbal as a group?
Does matter?
You have to vote because you need to
Vote
know a
individually?
majority. Yes.
All right. Then let's,
So is it all in, who's in
We can-
favor?
Just for clarification, Mr. Chairman, we can say yes to somebody, but that does not mean they're our nominee.
Correct.
Yes.
So we're to announce who the nominee is when we
When we get to that
name.
person's name.
Okay.
say
Chair
that again,
Smith?
please.
When we get to the individual's name that you'd like to nominate, that's when you would say who your nomination is.
Oh, I see. But we can vote yes
Yes.
or others?
Yes,
And
you
what
can.
happens to those yeses when we get through with the list? If they don't make a nominee from any one of us?
Then they would still move forward because they have a majority vote from this task force.
Who's keeping track of how many
I am.
yeses? You are, okay.
Chair
No,
Smith,
no,
can we
there
get
would, there
the-
would,
it's
there
not
would
on our
not be
screen.
necessarily a majority note if only one person says yes.
If only one person says yes, then that person will not move to the next round.
Okay, so it's got, if someone's name comes up and one or two people say yes, that doesn't work, that doesn't count because the majority has to say yes. That
We
would
need
be
at least-
4 out of 7
It has to be 4 out of 7.
or more than 4 out of 7?
Correct. At
Okay,
least 4.
so even though one member of the task force can say yes to a nominee, we then take the vote, and if the vote is not a majority, that person is out.
Correct.
Okay. Everybody understand?
Yes.
Even
Yeah.
if that's the nominee.
Even if that's the nominee.
So our nominees don't get put forward if they don't get past yes.
The nominee still needs the majority of the task force to move forward.
The nominee, each nominee needs the majority of the task force to move forward.
Correct.
Okay.
Can
All
we
right.
just make sure that the resume is here for us to view? It's not ready yet. Thank you.
All right, we are on Aaron Vasilati. I guess Marcelo, let's start with you. Yes or no?
I vote no.
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 Let's move to, do we need to take a motion, or is that it for now?
A motion on each one of these people?
I think,
Took the
apparently.
vote, so
What?
let's proceed to the next.
We don't, okay, no further discussion. All right. Let's go to Adam Grant. Discussion, please. Any in favor of Adam Grant? Start, Marcella, with you.
If I have no discussion, I vote no.
No?
No.
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 Okay. How about Adrian Jones? Adrian Jones, discussion? Marcella?
I feel bad because I'm always going the first one. There's
Oh.
no discussion? I just,
I have a quick
Okay.
discussion. Mr. Khan, can you advise where St. Francis County is? I'm also having difficulty moving my screen up. Is it controlled by the gentleman in the back? Okay. If he could bring it down so that we can get to his professional experience. Go a little further.
It's in Arkansas.
I think he was an assistant county administrator.
There's one in Arkansas, there's one in Missouri.
Yes. Do we know where Francis County is?
There is a St. Francis County, I don't know which one this is. There is
Yeah.
a St. Francis in Missouri, and there's a St. Francis in Arkansas.
Yeah, I found that out, and I was just trying to see if the population or demographic was comparable in any way. But I like Adrian Jones.
St. Francis in Arkansas has a population of 23,000,
Close.
and the population in Missouri is 67,000.
Okay,
based on the last census.
okay. Anyone else like Adrian Jones?
Further discussion? What I will do from now on discussion, I'll switch back and forth. Kim, I'll have you start one time, and Marcella, I'll have you start the next time, and we'll switch back and forth.
This is your nomination?
I thought that we'd made clarity that we could say yes, and then when we got to the end, we'd make our final nomination.
No, it's, go ahead. You,
If one person says yes, then we take a vote of the entire task force,
Okay,
and that vote has to be a majority for the person to move to the next slot.
and then if
we
it-
have to
if I-
announce that, if that is one of our people, we have to announce that.
Yes.
And do a presentation to that person.
I don't
Correct?
know about a presentation,
I
but
just, it doesn't necessarily need to be a presentation,
Or
but
the reasons why we're.
reasons why.
The reasons
Yes.
why, okay, it's a presentation.
And if in fact it does not move forward because I don't have 4 supporting votes, then I get another 2 choices.
No.
Yes, you get to
Yeah.
ultimately.
Okay,
Oh, so you keep having to?
At the end of the
I
day,
didn't get one.
Based on what the option that the boards, the advisory board selected, you both get to have 2 nominations.
2, but not to keep another 2, another 2, another 2.
but I think the question is if one member of the task force says yes, but we vote no, the question is, does that person end up on our final list or not?
No, if the majority
Okay.
says no, then it just means that the board member gets to try for another 2.
that was my question.
That's new. So we can go pick 2 more people.
Correct.
If they vote to.
So if someone says yes, and that person doesn't make it in the process, they still have 2 more that they can nominate for their choice.
Correct.
Okay. Everybody understand?
Yeah, but you would never get to an end then.
Yeah,
Well, when you get to 98,
still get your 2.
Yeah. Oh, you'd still get your 2, that's right. Okay.
All ready to move on?
Yes, sir.
Kim, how about on Alvania, Viviane?
I'm sorry, we
is
didn't
either
do the vote on
Sade-
Adrian Jones.
Oh, we're not at, correct. We're not at Adrian Jones yet, so we are now. Adrian Jones.
Yes. And then
Any discussion?
I liked him because we're not exactly sure where of the county that he comes from, but I liked him because there's some related experience.
If this is your nomination, then yes.
I'm sorry.
This is your nomination, then yes. And I'll second.
Okay, thank you.
You'll second, what's the motion?
If this is her nomination, then
I thought we have to take a vote
Yes.
and to see if I get 4.
Are we ready for the vote? Do we do this individually?
Same as we
Individual
did-
vote, same, Marcella? Yes or no?
I just wanted to go back. Could I ask you a couple questions?
Sure.
What made you choose this person exactly?
The same answer, that he has county administrator, assistant county administrator experience
And, I'm sorry, the
and
resume.
private sector
Kimberly, can you-
experience.
I've
Could
never
someone
talked to
scroll
him.
down, please? This resident? And he served for how long as county administrator?
It's listed there on the resume,
I can't see. Yeah, okay.
from 21 to 23.
2 years.
Yep.
And this is your nomination, Kimberly?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Joseph?
Um,
Oh, I'm sorry, we're not through with.
sorry. Yes, I approve her nomination.
approve her nomination.
No?
No.
No.
Okay.
It's not my choice, I'm just voting to,
Yeah, correct.
voting to support.
So does that make it 4?
That's 4.
So this person makes it to,
We'll make it to the interview round.
right. All right, anything further on that before we move to the next name, which I hope I do not butcher? I believe it's Alvania, Viviane, it's either Sade or Sadie. Discussion is open for that name. No discussion? No?
I have no discussion. I do not approve.
discussion pass.
No.
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 Next is Andres Nazario. Discussion, please. Anything from you, Kim?
No, sir?
Okay. Anyone else? We'll start the voting. Kim?
No.
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 Next on the list is Anthony Shembri. Discussion, Marcella?
I have no discussion. No.
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 Oh, wait, can we go down on this resume? I guess I would like to have a little discussion. Does anyone have a reason why he has served as county administrator? He does have the academic credentialing. Is there a reason why he's not of consideration?
My reason is he's not as well qualified as other candidates.
Okay.
Would agree with that.
I also say that when you review the number of employees and the budgets that he has, it's nowhere comparable to what the budget, number of employees, departments, and activities that are covered here in this county
Agreed.
compared to the smaller size. It's
Agreed.
different.
Further discussion?
No,
Let's vote.
no,
No.
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 So no on Shembri, sorry. Next, Antonio Bozoffi. Discussion, please. Marcella?
I have no discussion. I vote no.
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 Majority
No.
unanimously is no. Next name is Amer or Amer Callejas. Kim?
no,
No.
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 Now we have Brad Allen. Marcella?
Oh, is it Brad Allen? Yeah.
Is that?
I have no discussion, if anybody has, but my vote is no.
No discussion.
No.
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 no,
Okay, we are no on Brad Allen. Let's go to Brad Mitchell. Kim?
no,
No.
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 Okay, no.
Brian Carter. Kim?
no,
No.
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 Brian Robb. Marcella?
I have no discussion? No.
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 no,
C. Paschal Ease or Easy? Kim?
I'm trying to, no,
No.
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 No is unanimous. Next, Carolina Ceballos.
I have no discussion? No.
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 no,
Charles Montoya. Kim?
No.
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 Charles Williams. Marcella?
I'm just pulling it up. No, I did not have discussion, no.
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 Chris Sandleitner. Kim?
No.
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 Chris Snyder. Marcella?
I have no discussion, no.
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 Cornell Wesley.
It's one of my picks. I'm going to vote yes, but I'd like to give a couple pointers on it, if I may.
This is one of your two.
Yes.
Okay.
Lauren, would you?
Yes. So I'm going to be speaking on behalf of Mr. Caliendo. He's been an executive leader with 15-plus years of experience. From 2021 to present, he's been the Director, Chief Development Officer. He's generated $2 billion economic impact, created 15,000 jobs, and retained 10,000 jobs. Identified substantial cost savings and optimized allocation of financial resources by conducting balance sheet reviews and financial analysis. Drove major economic development initiatives resulting in new investments and job creation. He's represented the city in over 100 speaking engagements, media interviews, and panels on workforce and economic development. He's designed workforce development initiatives to boost job growth and expand employment, and he's secured a capital investment of $60 million. From 2017 to 2023, he's been a chief executive officer. From 2020 to 2021, principal for Emblem Strategies. From 2015 to 2019, he has been economic development representative and managed $20 million in federal cash. From 2014 to 2015, he's been a manager of financial services and economic development.
Let's have, if we have any discussion, or if we want to take a vote, we'll just go down the list, I guess. Kim, we'll start with you.
I agree. This candidate should definitely be submitted. I like that he has experiences in cities and counties that have great weather effect. So he's dealt with tornadoes, storms. One of the cities I visited a conference fairly recently, and on the surface, the government was very much so pivot ready. So I think he's a good candidate to submit. Yes.
I don't support this nominee because I think the experience is too vertical. This is a very broad myriad of management and administrative tasks here in Palm Beach County. I think his experience is a little too narrow, and given the diversity that goes on with all the departments, not just within finance, I think the experience is a little lacking.
I totally disagree. I think his attributes and his veracity and how he's handled himself has shown that he's a leader in his divisions and what he's done. So I vote yes.
I'll vote yes.
No?
Yes.
No.
I think we have
Four yeses.
4 yeses, 4 or 5 yeses.
Yeah.
Did I get that right? So that's the majority. So Cornell West moves to the next stage, right? Okay. Cornell Wesley. Ready to go, ready to move forward? Craig Thompson is next. Marcella?
I have no discussion, no.
No?
No.
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 Let's go to Craig Yaris, or Craig Yaris. Kim?
No.
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 Unanimous, no. David Jackson? Marcella?
Just reviewing I have no discussion. No?
No?
No,
No.
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 David Letterman with a D? Kim?
No.
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 no,
No.
No.
Dottie Owens? Marcella?
I have no discussion. No?
No.
no,
No.
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 That's a no. Drew Willison? Kim?
No.
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 no,
No.
No.
Dudley Stevens? Marcella?
Okay, I'm just trying to remember everyone I've seen. I have no discussion. No.
The discussion,
No.
no.
no,
No.
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 No on Dudley Stevens. We're down to Dustin Humbert. Kim?
No.
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 no,
No.
No.
Eddie Johnson? Marcella?
I have no discussion. No.
No.
no,
No.
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 Elizabeth Hernandez? Kim?
No.
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 no,
No.
No.
Ellen Marshall? Marcella?
I have no discussion. No.
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 no,
No.
No.
Ellen Vaughn? Kim?
No.
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 no,
No.
No.
The next is Eric Johnson, and that's one of my nominees. We'll start with Kim.
Yes, I'll support. Well, it's, if your nominee is, can we have discussion?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I meant to say, I meant to say discussion, yes, please.
I'm interested in hearing why you like him as a
Yeah.
candidate.
I was going to ask the same question.
He's one of the few people on the list that has had pretty extensive experience as either a county administrator or as an assistant county administrator. He's been a city manager in 2 Georgia counties. And one of them was Norcross, which is a decent-sized city. He's worked for government, as a government official, and for government officials in Tampa. He was the assistant county admin over there, 32 years' experience in the business. I think all of it in local government, as I recall. His whole background is as a city and county manager. He's had several achievement awards in terms of recognition, and not much on public trust. Couldn't find anything one way or the other on public trust. But, and the other thing I look at is whether he's been involved in innovation or motivation, innovation and modernization, and that was difficult to assess. It wasn't addressed. That's why I like him.
I guess my only question is, I lived in Atlanta and outside of Atlanta for close to a decade. And Forsyth County in particular is nothing like Palm Beach County in terms of demographic, socioeconomics. I have not visited in many a year, so do you know in terms of development, is it similar in any way to
It's
what?
not as big as Palm Beach County, I'm certain, but I haven't been to Norcross in a long time, so things have changed from when I knew about it.
Okay.
Are we still in discussion?
That's it for me.
Are we ready to vote? We'll start with you, Kim.
I'll support you, yes.
I'll support you, yes.
Yes.
yes,
I'll say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so Eric Johnson moves to the next level. Now we're at Frankie Atwater. And Marcella, we'll start with you.
No.
No?
No.
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 Ron? Ron, you said no?
No.
Okay. I hope everybody doesn't mind me using your first names instead of referring to you as Mr. or Mrs. Task Force member.
It's fine.
All right, let's take a look at Howard Brown, please. Kim?
No.
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 Isami Ayala Colazo.
Yeah, this is one of my other picks.
This is also my, one
Okay.
of my names that I'd like to move forward.
Can I just
Please.
well, probably, I have to start out by saying, probably the most impressive resume I've seen out of the whole 90-some on here, bar none. And when everybody's talking about how much experience and what the size of the county they worked for, or the city they worked for, maybe Alabama or Georgia or whatever small little area it is. This particular young lady has been with Palm Beach County for numerous years, holds a law degree, holds numerous other doctorate degrees. I mean, she's, and probably everybody in the county here knows her or knows of her. And I'd like to go to a little presentation that I put together for her, if you don't mind.
Any objection?
Okay, go ahead, Lauren.
Okay. So for her educational background, she's a professional chemical engineer, attorney, doctor of public administration, formal training in complex problems from multiple perspectives. She's been selected through national search. She was recruited with the county in July 2019 and promoted to the director position in December 2020. She successfully held positions at the state, county, and local levels of government. Her doctoral dissertation was based on a mix of methods, research, design, entailing the review and analysis of 10 years' worth of capital improvement data for Florida's fourth largest counties. From 2007 to 2016, she served as infrastructure manager for the municipalities of Carolina and Puerto Rico, the population being 150,000, annual budget being $300 million, and workforce being 1,500 employees. The mayor entrusted her with serving as an active mayor during his annual leave of absence. She's held dual roles in the county as Assistant County Administrator and FDO's Director since December 2023. She's been one of 10 individuals of MCG's Management Leadership Service chosen by the Chief Administrative Officer, and 25 years' worth of reference letters claiming she has exceeded expectations, exceptional quality, accuracy, intelligence, and calmed remains in control. Her work experience from December 2023 to present, she's been Assistant County Administrator. From December 2020 to present, she's been Director of Facilities Development and Operations. July 2019 to December 2020, Deputy Director, Facilities Development and Operations. From January 2018 to July 2019, she's been Deputy Director, COO, Department of General Services. From January 2016 to January 2018, she's been Chief Division of Facility Management, Department of General Services. December 2007 to January 2016, Infrastructure Manager appointed by Mayor, responsible for 6 departments, approximately 350 employees, managed combined budget of $400 million, knowledge of federal and state regulations. From September 2007 to December 2007, she's been a litigation associate. October 2005 to September 2007, environmental health safety engineer. And from August 2004 to October 2005, assistant director. September 2002 to July 2004, engineer and training. July 2001 to August 2002, graduate engineer, and then June 2000 to December 2000, intern engineer. And she's won awards, 2024 Palm Beach County Golden Palm Award.
And as you know, when we refer to county, we're referring to Palm Beach County.
Yes.
So she's been a permanent fixture here for good many years. and his knowledge of each and every one of these departments and the number of staff that we have. So when we talk here about someone who is qualified, that has the ability to do the job, she's been on staff doing this job already. So that was one of my major concerns, anyway.
Ron?
Comment? This is one of my picks as well. I fully support it. Also, I'd like to explain why. I've been in city management for 35 years. Before that, I had a 20-year career in another discipline in government. I understand the necessity and the role of having a professional administrator in a position of county administrator. There's a very fine line, but a thin line of separating the politics and the policymakers and the employees and those who implement those policies. In other words, trying to keep the politics out of the implementation of the policy. And so a strong administrator can do that. It's also understood that with her experiences demonstrated in her resume and background, and looking at the transition period going from one administrator to another, having the rank and file familiar with the new face in the chair is very important for the morale and the people actually delivering the services, boots on the ground. So I think anyone in this position that she has been in here in this county will make that transition much better, much easier, and give some security to those people who are delivering those services. So I wholeheartedly endorse this person.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
She also happened to be one of my selections. And I think for the same reasons that Ron and Sam were speaking to her, I find this person extremely impressive in her credentials, background, and her understanding of this county from a cultural perspective. So she got my nod right up front.
If I can just add one thing, if I may, Mr. Chairman. Ronald hit on something that I didn't bring up, but it was I have been thinking. I'm just very concerned that this job I'm trying to be careful what I say, but this job shouldn't be so much as a political job it is to be a knowledgeable and someone who has the ability and the wherewithal to get the job done. And what he was referring, one of the things he referred to, you've got a set of county commissioners that whoever this person gets his job has to answer to. So you've got all these people that you've got to juggle the ball with. And what nobody remembers is when this commission is gone, it's this person who has to make whatever their projects are that they've put forward, make sure that they get honored as if how they were approved. There's very few people I saw with resumes that had that ability and knowledge and wherewithal to get the job done. So,
I wanted to support, I think that was an excellent point made. I, unlike the two gentlemen, I don't believe it's possible to keep politics out of government. I think that they work hand in hand. And with that being said, I did observe or witness, forgive me for using her first name, but Ishmael, make presentation at the state level. And as we know, there needs to be a clear partnership. There needs to be people who are able and have the skill set and experience to navigate those spaces to ensure that Palm Beach County's needs are met. And so for that reason, I'm very supportive of her being listed as a candidate.
but
I'm sorry, sir.
well, I just wanted to make one thing. When I said political, you misunderstood me. She obviously, or he, has to be someone that understands the technical supports and the requirements that are on the political arena.
Agreed.
That's what I was referring. I wasn't referring to that. I was referring to being to the other side of the political arena.
Agreed.
It's got to be somebody that's open-minded and knows how to act and what to do in those positions.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I just wanted to compliment Kim and also agree in total with what she said. It's good for whomever is in this job to know how to navigate that particular area of influence, if you will. And from her resume, she seems to have that skill set. So I would agree with you completely.
From this end of the dais.
I had originally, I don't know, this is one of my two picks. So I thank you for that wonderful presentation, because I agree with everything that each one of you have said. And I would like to move forward with voting, if that's
So
possible.
the discussion, I agree with the sentiments, many of the sentiments that were shared today about her as well.
So, any more discussion? And I think we take the vote, is that correct? We vote yes or
Yes.
no?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
So we have 6-1. 6-1, yes. Okay, next on the list is James Edwards, and I think we're to you, Marcella.
So, I have no discussion. I vote no.
No discussion.
No?
No.
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 Now we're to Jason Prideaux. I think that's how we pronounce that. Prideaux with an X. Kim?
No.
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 No?
No.
We have Javier Castano. Marcella?
I have no discussion. No.
No.
No, I'm sorry.
No.
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 J. David Fraser. Kim?
No.
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 No?
No.
Did you say no, Marcella?
Sorry, no.
Gene Wibby. Kim?
No.
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 No?
No.
Jeffrey Iserson. Marcella?
No.
No?
No.
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 Jeffrey St. John. Kim?
No.
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 No?
No.
Johanna Minaya. Marcella?
No.
No.
No?
No.
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 John Malik.
No.
No?
No.
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 John White. Kim?
No.
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 Joseph Abruzzo. Marcella? Oh, I'm
I was
sorry.
gonna say, can we have a discussion?
Oh, yes, discussion first.
Yeah, Joe would be my nominee, my second choice, my second nominee. When I look at his resume and what he has done, and you look at his skill sets, they all come together for me. So I was looking at Joe's resume as I looked at the others, which focus on leadership, skill sets, and cultural adaptation. And I think it's pretty clear from his resume that he understands the county. He knows the county. He's a longtime player here, person. And I just find everything in his resume very appropriate for this position. Being the clerk and controller, also being the county's CFO, and also leading and managing 650 people. That's a lot to say for him. So I find him to be attractive. I don't know Joe, I've never met him, I look forward to interviewing him, but his resume has a lot of what I'm looking for.
More discussion on
Yeah.
Yosef.
It's also the same sentiments that you shared. It's most of one of my two nominees.
Great.
I wanted to just share that I like the idea as an elected official, it kind of brings in the constituents and they have a say. The majority of the county decided that they liked him for this particular role, and I think that's important that he was the winner in an elected capacity, which says that they're a part of this process as well.
If I may be on the other side of this. On the political side, I agree with what my colleagues, what they have mentioned. But on the actual knowledge and ability to running a county of this magnitude, there's no real history or background that he has, other than most of his background's the political arena. And yes, he's done well with that, and I would agree with that. But running a county is not the same thing as being a legislator or anything like that. So my vote would be no.
His role, if I may, sir? His role, though, as county comptroller is a pretty influential
Yeah.
role in the spirit of leadership. That's what I was taking from it. Again, as I said, I've never met the man. I just,
I'm sorry. Can you make sure that you're talking into the mic?
oh, sorry.
Thank you.
I'm talking to the same.
As usually I get on the attack.
If I may. I couldn't agree with you more. I think his experience is in the election field. He's a politician who runs for office. With a $9 billion budget, 7,000 budgeted positions, 39 municipalities to coordinate with, and I think it was like 37 or 39 different divisions or departments to deal with. I think professional experience as a professional manager or administrator in the field of managing and administrating a local government is necessary to be able to make the transition into this position as quickly and easily as possible. Learning curves in this position is going to be very steep for people who are not experienced in it. That's just my opinion.
Just in response to that, Mr. Sherman?
Sure.
He manages a group of 650 people. I mean, I understand what your position is, Ron. I see there is a difference. I'm sorry, I just like
You
the
and this
casual.
microphone.
Casual piece. I just get the sense from his resume that he has the skill set and the ability to navigate that arena. Repeating myself,
I respect your opinion.
as do I, Rose.
Does anyone else have any discussion?
I don't have a discussion, but I would like to say that Mr. Abruzzo is one of my nominations.
That's one of my nominations as well. I'll speak to that for a moment. With Joe Abruzzo, you know what you're getting. With the vast bulk of the rest of the people on this list, you really don't know what you're getting. You might get something good, you don't really know with 98 people to take a look at. There's not very many people in this county that understand the county budget, maybe 2 or 3, and they probably work for Virginia. The only other one that really is knowledgeable about it, because he's the auditor of the budget. Every year he has to audit that budget. He also invests the county's funds, which are somewhere around $5.6 billion. That includes the reserve funds and the excess cash. He's a former senator, former House of Representatives. He knows everybody in Tallahassee. He knows a lot of people on the Hill. That can help us. He's got a $70 million budget for the clerk, and he's not just the clerk and the comptroller, he's also the chief financial officer. He's also the treasurer of the county. So he's got a lot of hats that he wears. In terms of financial stewardship, I think it's very strong. He's earned awards in financial reporting. His public recognition and his honors and his accolades are extensive. I think he enjoys public trust because he's been elected, 8 times in this county? So people know him, they like him. He was Legislator of the Year, as an example, for, I think, 2 years. I don't know, the one thing I do know about him, because I've known him for 20 years, is that he has modernized that office there from previous years, and I think that's probably a good thing, one of the things that we look for. somebody else said he manages between 7 and, well, he would be managing, he manages payrolls for 7,000 employees, not all of whom work for him. But he manages those payrolls, and the county commission, I think, has given him that job. So Joe would be one of my 2 folks that would be on my final list. More discussion, please.
I just want to support everything you just said, Mr. Chairman. I think all of his experience and his history makes him a very, very strong candidate for us to at least interview, if nothing else.
So I think we take a vote now, correct? Well, let's start with Marcella. Yes or no?
Yes, for me.
Yes is one of my nominations.
Yes?
Yes, and he's also one of my nominees.
No.
No.
Yes.
So it looks like a 5 to 2, is that the vote? All right, let's move on. Interesting, that was an interesting discussion. Joseph Nelson Carcamo. And Marcella?
No.
No?
No.
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 Let's go to Joshua Sloan. Kim?
No.
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 No?
No.
Julie Redkay. Marcella?
No discussion? No.
No?
No.
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 Keith Clinksales. I'm sorry, Clinkscales. Kim?
Yes.
No.
Should I have said discussion?
Sure.
Oh, okay. May I?
Sure, please.
My rationale or reasoning for suggesting Dr. Clinkscales was, I don't know him, but I had the opportunity to hear him speak at a county event. And I know that he works, based on his CV, I know that he works with the county. And although this may not matter as we prioritize competency and experience and skill set, it may not matter as much. But I think likability is important. I think it helps shape culture. I think it helps motivate teams. And just bearing witness, and I know it's my limited experience, but just bearing witness to his interaction with employees and other individuals within the county, it was cool to observe. He was making a presentation of sorts, and I, as we mentioned with Mr. Abruzzo, I think that likability is important. So that's my reason for said instruction. And of course, he works for the county currently, or previously.
Further? Ready to vote on Mr. Clinksales? Kim?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Is this one of your nominations?
Yeah.
One of your 2, your meetings.
Oh, is it one of my 2?
This would be your second.
This would be my second, huh? Uno momento.
Sure, take your time.
Oh, shoot. And that has to be stated now? Yeah, okay. Yes.
Thank
Well, wait. I'm sorry. I do apologize. I don't think I have the votes. So,
You may have the votes.
That's why I
That
asked
was
you
the
if this was
question
your
at the end.
nomination.
okay.
And you're saying it is?
Yeah.
I'll support it, yes.
I'm not sure if I've counted correctly.
I'm not sure either.
2.
Well, let's do it again. You're a yes?
Beginning.
Yes.
No?
No.
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Yes.
So we have 4, is that right? So,
I think we have 4.
so
Yes.
hold on, let me make a note, please. 4, 2, 3, yes. Have I got that right?
Yes.
Okay,
If I can comment, Mr. Chair?
sure.
I just think it's important for the panel, for all of us on the task force, to have the opportunity to put our nominees through, at least to the interview process. So, and that's, so I want to support that nominee because
Thank you.
you saw something in that resume that maybe I didn't see.
Yeah.
I think you should have an opportunity to move that person.
Okay, let's move on. I'm sorry.
I agree with what you mentioned as well. To share that.
Ready to move to Kareth Fiddler? Kareth Fiddler.
I've forgotten, is it my turn?
Yeah, I think it is.
No.
No?
No.
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 Kevin Mills.
No.
Kim?
No.
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 Kirk Cresto.
Chair Smith, can I ask whoever's doing, just to make sure that the resume is showing, not the cover letter? Because I just need to be reminded. No. For Kirk. Cresto.
No.
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 Kyle Martin. Kim?
No.
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 Larry Tibbs. Marcella?
No.
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 Lee Lovely. Kim?
No.
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 Leslie Dennis. Marcella?
No.
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 Lucas Boyce.
No.
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 Mark Fleurant.
No.
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 Mark Sohaney. Kim?
No.
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 Matthew Luciano. Marcella?
No.
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 Matthew McDermott.
No.
Kim?
No.
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 Mendel Grinter. Marcella?
Wait, Mendel, okay. No.
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 Michael Garrow. Kim?
No.
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 Michael Kemp.
No.
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 Michael O'Donnell. Kim?
No.
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 Michael Riley. Marcella?
No.
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 Nashika Ogilvy.
No.
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 Patrick Jordan.
Oh, my turn.
Is it me? No.
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 Patrick Rutter.
Comment, please?
Sure.
As for all the reasons stated before, the other employee, Ismala, I would like the board to consider the fact of the experience of this individual who has on occasion occupied the role of not interim, but county administrator in the absence of the county administrator. And again, based upon leadership, the transition from one leader to another, I think would go easier with Patrick Rutter. He is my second pick. With his experience, with his knowledge of the job, his knowledge of the employees and the mission that the 7 elected officials have given him. I think he has performed admirably. He is very effective in his position as far as dealing with the cities that I deal with. And I think it would be advantageous for that transition of power for the benefit of not only the elected officials, but the employees and the citizens they serve, for that transition of power to be smooth and continuous. So therefore, I wholeheartedly recommend Patrick as my choice. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Ron, do you know this person? Do you know this person?
From a professional level, yes. He attends our association meetings, the city county managers. I see him in meetings. We have frequent contact and discussing issues between the cities, the counties. He's always there and willing to lend a helping hand.
And is he one of your nominees?
He is.
My question about his resume is the number of positions he's been in for 2 years. I think with the exception of assistant city manager, no wait, there was one job he had for 5 years. But with the exception of that job, I see a lot of 2-year placements. And it just gives me an unsettling feeling that he's just constantly moving. And one of the things I think that's important, at least here in Palm Beach County, is continuity.
Mr. Nisberg, is your mic on?
It is.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just not talking about it. It's just the way I am. But I just,
Oh, excuse me, your mic is not
What's that?
on. Now your mic is on.
My mic was not on. It is now on. I stand corrected. I
trying to
don't know
help
what
you.
I would do without you, Sam. I appreciate it.
Well,
I saw 2 green lights here,
I
and I
need
said,
your
that must
eyes
be
and
it.
you need my assistance.
Exactly. So I won't repeat that. I think it was heard anyway. But to make a long story short, I watched what happened here in this county in the last 10 years or so, and I thought Ms. Baker did a phenomenal job keeping people together. I say that as a consumer of her services, having lived in Palm Beach County for 35 years. And I think that's an important characteristic trait. When I see somebody who has 2-year stints in a number of positions in this role, I mean, it may be great in other roles, but when I see it in this role, it just gets me a reason to pause. So that was the reason I'd say no to this candidate.
Mr. Chairman, may I comment as well?
Please.
I have to wholeheartedly agree with Jay. When I run through the resume, well, one thing that bothered me about the resume, it looked like a snapshot of our requirements. Looked like it came off the front page of it,
Right, exactly.
word for word. That bothered me a lot. But more importantly, bothered me was almost the same exact issues that Jay is bringing up here. Just rotated through a lot of different places on a 2-year basis, and I saw some even less. And also, I think we need some new blood into this, in the sense of not saying new blood not being in the county, because I support somebody being in this county, because it gives them some knowledge background and some political clout as well. But I kind of see too much rubber stamping of the predecessor in this. So I support Jay's opinion wholeheartedly here. I have a real problem with this applicant.
I'd like to comment that this is also one of my nominations as well. I don't know him personally, but I appreciate the resume, and I have seen him myself as a resident of the county, sitting in one of these chairs, listening to the knowledge that he has and as he speaks through and works in the county. think the resume is sufficient for the next process, and therefore it's my nomination.
I have
Do we
comment.
have a discussion?
I could say it again.
Is your mic on, Rabbi? I don't know.
All right, now you can hear me. So I'll just make it short. It's also,
Switch on the wall.
just to make it short, it's also one of my nominations
I know.
due to his experience in Palm Beach County, and I think that's important.
I'd like to share support for Mr. Ferris's nomination. Oftentimes, what I'm about to say isn't considered complimentary, but in this case, I do believe it is. In my very small world, with people who've had interactions with Mr. Rudder, the feedback or the commentary associated is vanilla. He just does his job. There's no politics associated with it. There's no fanfare. It's just very cut and dry. He's there to do a job, and the job is then done. So I'm supportive of him. I think that will transfer and translate very well. He's placed in a particular capacity, and the job is there to be done, and he'll just do the job.
Is it time to vote yes or no with everyone? All right, we'll start with Marcella. Yes or no on Rudder?
I'd like to support my committee, yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I'd like to qualify my response, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Please.
My gut feel would be a no, but in keeping with my initial instincts, I'd like to see my colleagues get their candidate at least the opportunity to present, if that's where we go with this.
Yeah, but you think that's the correct way, or I thought we're really trying to eliminate and bring together a group of
Sure.
people? Oh, I got to speak in my microphone here. I'm not sure that's I agree with that approach, because I think we should probably just be here to try to bring the right people to the table. And we all can support each other, but at the end of the day,
For me, Sam, it's not just supporting the other colleagues on the dais. It's they must see something in this resume I don't see. And that's very possible. And we've got 3 people saying this is their nominee. So I'm just open to the thought process that I'm looking at this, and I would normally have probably I did pass on this resume, but they're probably seeing something I just didn't see. So I think we need to give them the opportunity to be heard.
I too. I think it's of grave benefit to allow the CVs to come to life. You know, it's one thing to just see on a piece of paper, but if there's enough to warrant one of these trusted individuals to make requests that they're seen and spoken to directly, I think it's of grave benefit that we do so.
And our list is not that extensive.
No.
And we're almost near the end. We're not going to have 23 people for sure. We're maybe going to have half that, less than half. So I don't see a harm in seeing what you see in this resume that I don't see.
Vote?
I
Give me
believe we're
some,
still
give me
voting.
some help. I'm not sure whether it's yes by 4-3 or 5-2.
Do it again.
5-2.
Does that sound right to everybody? I think that's right. Okay, it's 5-2, yes.
If Mr. Nisberg's changing his vote, maybe 6-1.
I'm sorry, are you changing?
My vote was yes.
The vote is yes, okay, then it is 5-2.
Yeah, okay. But a qualified yes.
okay. I like that.
I watch television. That's the way we did it in the White House.
Raul,
Okay, so next on the list, Pedro Lenga.
Me? No.
Again?
No.
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 I'll hold off until a moment.
No.
I'm a no on this, but this fellow had an impressive resume. If you take a look all the way down through, I don't have it in front of me other than what we're looking at right now, but his resume was impressive. But I think this is a fellow who spent time in Bogota, if I remember.
Boy.
And he had a really good resume, but I still vote no. Peggy Castano. Marcelo?
No.
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 Pilar Arizmendi Stewart.
No.
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 Preston Clark. Marcella?
No.
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 Ricardo Mendez Saldivia. Kim?
No.
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 Richard Montañez. Marcella?
No.
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 Ricky Mark. Kim?
No.
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 Robert Daniels.
No.
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 No. No. So sorry.
Robert Reinschuttle. Kim?
No.
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 Roger Leonard.
No.
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 Sam Narayana Asami.
Very good.
Thanks. I'm not sure.
First name for sure.
Yeah, that's right. Got to be a good guy.
I'm a little biased there.
Sam is a good guy. I'm sorry, start with Marcella.
No discussion? No.
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 We're down to Scott Cuthbertson. Kim?
No.
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 Sebastian Fanegra. Marcella?
No discussion? No.
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 Sergio Perinos.
No.
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 Sonia Alves Vivieros.
No discussion? No.
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 Stan Michelonis.
No.
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 Tara Montanaro. Kim?
No.
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 Terry Burke.
No
Burke
discussion?
or Burka, I'm sorry. It's probably a Burka.
Burka?
Yeah.
No discussion? No.
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 Thomas Claxton. Kim?
No.
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 Thomas Thomas.
No.
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 Vanessa Williams Brooks. Kim?
No.
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 Veronica Villalobos or Villalobos.
No discussion? No.
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 And I guess this is the last one, correct? Wayne Bean.
No.
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 Okay, I think that does it for the names, correct?
We're down to 8.
Let's, I want to be sure we understand what we have done when we have voted yes on some of the folks, but they are not the primary two selections, and how that impacts the number of people we will be interviewing. My understanding of what we discussed last week and earlier today is that we only have two choices to submit to the interview to be interviewed. Is that correct?
No.
Then what is correct?
I'm sorry, what do you mean?
two
Well,
choices.
tell us what's the correct, my understanding was that we were going to vote, each task force member would have two choices, number one and number two, who would definitely be on the interview list. What I don't understand is the rest of these people who were voted yes, but who are not in the top two. Are we voting to agree to interview them, or are we not? Because that's gonna expand the list well beyond,
No, we're just interviewing 8 people. There's 8 people that were yeses.
well, that's what that was my
Yeah,
understanding.
yeah, 8
Yeah,
people that were
but I-
yeses
but I'm-
and 8 people that
David,
we
I think,
interviewed.
I have, on my list, I have 7 people.
Yeah, I have 7 too.
Oh, I'm sorry, 7, I apologize.
I'm just gonna read through the names to make sure we didn't miss anyone.
oh, okay,
Adrian Jones,
Hold it, go slow.
yes,
Cornell Wesley,
yes,
Eric Johnson,
yes,
Ismi Alakaloza,
yes,
Joseph Abruzzo,
Yes?
Keith Klinkscale, and Patrick Rutter.
Yes.
Correct.
And
oh, okay,
based on that, these were all the people that were nominated by individuals on the task force and will be going to the interview. There's nobody on this list that was not nominated by somebody.
perfect, perfect.
Just to get an understanding, from the interview process, is it 5 people get submitted to the commission, or 7, or how does it work from there?
It is up to 5,
Up to 5, so it could be 1, it could be 5.
correct. It could be 0. It could be anywhere between 0 and 5,
So we interview 7, and from the 7, we pick the top 5.
correct.
And what's the date that our deadline is for that?
That meeting is scheduled, and I can,
Now, you mentioned that meeting has to be all 7 applicants on the same day, is that correct?
yes, with this, and each of them are asked the same questions. There could be follow-up questions, but they're all asked the same basic questions.
And we will be submitting any questions that we suggest to you by tomorrow.
Yes, any questions, please send those to me tomorrow.
Is there a time, allotted amount of time per interview, or it's?
Well, according to the resolution passed by the commission, each interview is supposed to last 20 minutes
Passed by which commission?
by the Board of County Commissioners.
Oh, Board of County Commissioners. okay.
They said every interview is going to be 20 minutes
That's with them or with us?
with you,
As a
So-
group.
as a group.
So they can't stay longer, and some of these discussions could be 20 minutes amongst 2 or 3 of us.
And we can bring that to the board if.
Yeah, I
you'd like.
think you need to, John, don't you agree? Could go more than 20 minutes.
If we decide to stay with 20 minutes, the way I would prefer to do it is to allow each member of the task force to start off with a question, so that we allow, rather than starting at one end and going to the other end. Marcella might never get a chance to
That's
ask a
what I was-
question.
that's what I was
But
concerned.
we would allow each member of the task force to kick off the first question, and then we would take the next 2 to the 2 people next to the person who was number 1. That way, everybody gets a shot at asking a question, and nobody's left out. Does that sound reasonable?
Just a clarification question, Mr. Chair. I thought from our first meeting, any question we ask of a candidate has to be asked of all candidates,
Correct.
Yeah. How's that gonna work in 20 minutes?
if we each have a question.
If we each have a question?
The way the resolution's written, every
2 minutes
candidate
apiece.
gets 2 minutes introduction, then questions, and they each get a 2-minute conclusion. So,
I think the idea is good, that we request the county commission to extend the 20 minutes to something that's more reasonable,
Exactly.
particularly if we're going to ask all the same questions.
Yeah,
And how
but
many
it doesn't
questions
work.
do you suggest, or do you think will be on the list?
it really depends on how much time
Good,
we're going to have.
good.
So,
if
is
the-
there a
if the
number that you would
commission
like
does
me to
not
go back to
budge
the
on
board?
20 minutes, then we're not going to have very many questions.
Yeah, and this is one of the most important jobs in Oak County, and to limit it to 20 minutes and not give everybody up here the proper opportunity. Why were we created if it wasn't to try to use our best abilities?
Is there an amount of time you'd like me to go back to the board with as a recommendation?
I
me,
would say not more than an hour, but less than an hour.
Yeah.
So that if we want to have any discussion on-air discussion, of course, it would be under sunshine. After a candidate left, we could have, say, 5 or 10 minutes of discussion, and then go to the next candidate. So I would say either 50 minutes, including the 10 minutes that we get for discussion, or we could go to an hour and make it both the interview itself as well as 10 minutes of discussion. If anybody wants to discuss, maybe you don't want to discuss.
I
Just
support
to
that.
clarify,
Yeah, I
the-
think
the-
John's
the discussions and the deliberation will be with the candidate present.
What's that?
No, you mentioned to have the discussion after the candidate leaves, but I'm just letting
I'm
you know
talking
that.
about leaves the interview chair.
Well,
If they want to stay in the audience, that's fine.
Okay, okay. Okay, just wanted to make clear that the candidate has a right to be here while the deliberation takes
In a
place.
zoning board, well, you have the staff presentation, and you have your discussion, and then we close the meetings to the public, and we discuss it amongst ourselves, which is what John's suggesting. So allow 10 minutes for that.
No, I don't think I suggested that we close the meeting to the public.
Not
I'm
close the meeting to the public, I mean, allow us the 10 minutes to discuss it amongst ourselves.
Yes.
We're not asking anybody to leave.
Without asking anybody to leave. We're not asking anybody to leave.
When are we voting on the candidates the second time round?
So, at per the schedule that you see up here, we have another meeting that's scheduled for the 23rd to review resumes, but
We don't need to.
we don't need that because we finished that today. So our next meeting is the 28th.
So
That would be the day that we
23rd is
inter-
out. 28th is our next meeting.
28th, yes. So 2 weeks from today.
Can we move the 28th to the 23rd?
No, I can't do that. It's gonna take too long to do that.
That would be
No.
up to the task force.
No, I don't
Doesn't
do
work.
that.
It all has to happen on the same day. It's,
I'd rather leave it
Is
to
there-
28.
Isn't there one person from out of state in this pool?
I think there are 2.
Yeah, let's give them enough time to get here. 28th is, oh, I'd like to stick to that if we can.
So
Have something else to ask. The board is interested in the answers to the questions. And given the fact that the questions all have to be the same, would it be prudent for the chairman to ask the question, the rest of us listen and evaluate the answers, so that the same questions that you're given to ask, I assume you're going to give us those questions?
Yes.
And so you run the meeting by asking the questions, we all listen. That way, all the questions are asked of each applicant, and we sit, evaluate, and judge the answers.
And there's no
But
duplicates.
there's several questions, so he would have to ask all those questions, each one, instead of us getting the opportunity to ask the
Just
questions we'd
saying,
like.
for order's sake and consistency's sake, the chairman asks the questions, the same questions of every candidate that's handed to him. Otherwise, you're going to hand out questions to the board, and there may be 2 or 3 asked this time and not 2 or 3 asked the next time. So I'm just saying, for consistency's sake, it would be best, in my opinion,
that
for the
motion?
chairman to ask a question and let's evaluate them. Just
gonna
my
have-
suggestion.
Aren't we gonna have a list of a long amount of questions, and we'll pick from that what we'd like to ask?
Yes.
Whoa, that's not my understanding.
Well,
We're gonna pick.
no-
Every candidate has to be asked the same.
Every candidate needs to be asked the same
The
questions.
same questions, but all the same 7, or if there's 20 questions, we can't pick which
No,
question?
it needs to be the same
Oh, I
questions.
see, okay.
it's the same thing each person.
And question, for clarity, the deadline for tomorrow for questions that we, task force members, would like to submit, these will be in addition to the questions that have already been designed, or those are the questions?
Those will be the questions.
Okay. Do you already have questions?
No,
You haven't
any
received
questions
any
asked will
from
be
us?
those submitted by the task force.
Okay, and no one has submitted any yet?
I have 2 people who've submitted.
Got it.
One question, maybe John can answer this. How do you, let's say the gentleman or the lady who is the nominee that's coming here, and they're answering a question, and it raises another question by how they're answering it. Because we may have to ask the same question, but you're not necessarily going to get responded to in the same way by every single candidate. They will be responded differently. But what if that raises another question? Are we now allowed to interject?
The process allows for follow-ups. So if a candidate says something and a member of the board wants to follow up,
We can
that's
follow
allowed.
up.
Well, I think the way we do that is that we just simply ask the candidate to clarify. Would you clarify your answer? And rather than putting it in a new question, ask them to clarify the answer concerning whatever the issue is.
Yeah, but
And
we
that
have
way,
to
we're not
have
asking a new question. Here's, I'm going to have to be the one that's going to have to interrupt some of these candidates because they're taking too long to answer their questions. The chair, we could all do it, I suppose, but if we want to get through the question, I've done a lot of interviewing in my day, and people like to talk when they're being interviewed, and they almost always push to extend their answers because they want to. It's to their credit, to their benefit. So I see my role as having to interrupt some of these candidates in the middle of an answer and say, I'm sorry, but we've got to move on, and then asking, if I ask the new question, I ask it. If you ask the new question, you ask it. Because we're gonna have to control this if we're gonna get it done in an hour, and if we want to get every question asked, then there's gonna have to be a limited time that each candidate has to answer any question.
If I may ask counsel, so if we have a follow-up, does that follow-up have to go to every candidate as well?
No, the follow-up is going to be based on the question, the answer that the candidate provides. So if something is left hanging and you want to follow up,
Okay.
it's
That was
totally
one of my
permissible to do that.
concerns. I mean, it's one thing to have a set of questions that everybody's asked, but you're never going to get the same response from each person, and the follow-up may create a,
We'll have to
Scenarios
be,
Jay is
we'll
saying.
have to be judicious about asking for a second, asking them for another question that's not on the list, because if we have too much of that, we're not gonna get through in time.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'd like, if we're done on that, I'd like to go back to the calendar for a minute. I think Ron may have a valid point about timing. We have to bring our recommendations to the commission by the 3rd of June.
Correct.
To do this on the 28th causes me a little pause for two reasons. One is I won't be here on the 28th, but two, the 23rd gives us a lot more breathing time. If we have to have some, I mean, can we have people back or not?
Have people back?
Have people back?
There's one interview.
one interview.
One interview.
But then the county commission has the right to ask for another interview if they choose.
But then,
Right. So I'm
If they
thinking
choose,
we need some space in there in case, should they do that. And since we all have had the 23rd blocked regardless, I think it'd be a shame, I think Ron's point is spot on. I think it'd be a shame to not use the day in case, it's an in case kind of thing. We have it, get our job done, and if they ask us to bring bodies back, you know, or a different candidate or whatever, we at least have the window of opportunity.
Or what about splitting, what another idea, Jay, if I may suggest, what if we split them off? We have 7, what if we do 4 at one point, and if we can get an hour to do it, that's 4 hours, and then do 3 the next date, and that's 3 hours. That way we're not sitting here for 7 hours, number one, if it does take an hour for each one. And we really should have, I agree with John, I think an hour at the outside is the proper timing for the most important job in the county. Not 20 minutes is a joke.
What do you think about 50 minutes?
Well, I'm
We'll,
split it.
if
It's
we do
always
7
55
hours,
minutes.
that's 7 hours that we're sitting.
What about 55 minutes?
Between 20 and an hour,
What was that? Yeah,
45 minutes.
Be 7.5,
My point was,
but cash.
my point was, I still think, I want to echo Ron's position, though. I still think we should just use that 23rd date.
Well, you can, but I think we should, just a thought, we split them up.
I'd
That way there
rather,
takes the pressure off.
I would rather do it in one day. It's just a little better. I do think that if, Chair Smith, I don't know if that's possible. We're done with the 7. There's 2 that are not from this county. Is that great? So would be, if we did the 23rd, we'd notify them, you'd notify them today. Is that correct? Okay, and that would give, you'll have the questions, you'll process and let us know what the questions are, so that they would have a week to, to get here. I think it's doable for us to do this on Friday, and give the commissioners time to review a whole week, essentially, of who we've moved forward for number 5. And we'll have lunch together. I'm just kidding.
Are you providing lunch?
And you're providing it?
You're providing.
Oh,
it.
I'll provide,
No,
I'll
actually,
be glad to
Chair,
provide it.
Chair Smith is, right?
Yes.
There you go.
There are certain
I'm used to
duties and
it.
requirements of the chair.
After the interviews, when do we, what's the process in providing recommendations to the board?
On whatever day we conduct the interviews are conducted, then there would be a vote at the end of that day to determine on the 7 candidates to see who you would like to nominate to the board.
So it'll be that same day at the end of
It would be that same day.
So it'll be interviews plus decision
Correct.
by the task force, same day.
Now,
Yes.
How do those candidates get moved forward, David? Does the chair bring those candidates to the commission?
And then the chair will bring that to the commission on the 3rd.
Correct. So,
We should use
we've been talking about a lot of subjects here, so what we're talking about doing now, at the suggestion of David, is that we knock out the 23rd, knock that out as a meeting date, but that we keep the 28th, which is a Wednesday, for the interviews plus the decision. Is that,
That's
think
up
he
to the board.
suggested that.
All I'm saying is the
Well-
current calendar says the 23rd is for reviewing resumes.
this is what we've already
If you'd like to
decided,
change that
correct.
to interview date, that is
Yeah.
up to the task force.
so,
I would
Make a
prefer having
motion.
interviews on the 23rd.
Motion, Chairman?
Motion to move the interviews to the 23rd.
Second?
Third?
move interviews to the 23rd,
All 7?
and I understand there's a second to the motion. Discussion, please.
Well, doesn't this all depend on how much timing we're gonna get? David's gotta go chase the commission and see if we can up the timeline.
When's the next meeting?
There's a workshop next Tuesday.
So can I bring this to the workshop? So I can bring this to the workshop on Tuesday.
Okay.
Addition
Can
to
you
the
still invite
addition
said
to the
today you would
motion?
invite.
I would still invite the candidates to the 23rd. It would just be a
the
matter
issue
of
is
how many
time.
questions we would have.
Timeline that we'll have to do it.
Right.
Addition to the motion that we request from the county commissioners 45 minutes for the interview?
I second.
Well, hold on, we have another motion on the floor.
Oh, we do?
You want to add, so your motion is to move the interviews to the 23rd and
Ask the county commission for 45-minute interview.
ask, so we understand what, let's talk about that.
Well, can we up this 45 minutes to an hour or 50 minutes?
No.
I think.
Is there any logic to why they would want it to be 20 minutes?
Yeah, makes no sense.
That's just what was presented and agreed to by the board.
Maybe they felt we'll have a lot more, if it has 4 weeks. I mean, the logic you could potentially say is,
That's what bothers me.
not to hypothesize, but the logic you could say is if we had 14 candidates and everything has to be done in the same day, an hour is just not possible.
But we only have 7.
And now we have 7, so we can make that recommendation and request. I will say that 45, if an hour, times that by 7 plus time in between. Again, on Friday, I will leave at a certain time when it gets late, but, you know, I think 45 makes it doable that I could hopefully be here the whole time.
We'll be done by 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
You'll be good to go.
It's summer, we'll get Shabbat's later, right?
Yeah. I'll get
For
you.
that to
I'll get
happen, we
you a
would need to
reprieve.
start earlier.
I'll give my guy a call.
Rabbi, for that to happen, we would need to start earlier in the day to get through the,
Let's start early.
if it's 7 people, roundabout, with conversation, it's about an hour per person.
Yeah.
That's plus miscellaneous and time for lunch.
I'm voting.
Well, the motion is for 45 minutes for the candidate interviews and to move the interviews to the 23rd. That's the motion on the floor. Further discussion, please.
Can I add one point of reference? Some of these candidates, the votes gained were merely votes of support and not necessarily for the candidate. So I don't think that each of them will take 45 minutes. Is it possible that if we've wrapped the interview early, let's say in 20 minutes, that we can move on to the next candidate? They'll all be present, right? Or their interview time is,
I'll give them a time, but I'll
Static.
also give them a window.
okay.
So, so they'll be here before that scheduled time, just in case you're running early.
Okay.
We should not have too many situations where we close down the interview quickly because we have a certain number of questions to ask, and those questions have got to be gotten through. More discussion, please.
I just would like Dave to be able to go back and get the 45 minutes or to an hour would give something.
Okay.
Okay, well, first we have to have a motion that this task force gives Dave the recommendation to do this. More discussion. The motion is to move the interviews to the 23rd and to have 45-minute interviews. That's the motion. We ready to vote?
Who's the second?
I had seconded it originally.
We have a
but-
second.
yes.
We have a second. I guess we have to do this by raising our hands, or do we want to go one by one?
That's up to you.
Let's just raise our hands. All in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6. Okay, that's our motion. So we got 45-minute interviews. I think that implicit in that, not in the motion, is that we might add 10 minutes for any discussions we might want to have after each interview.
I agree with John.
We might not need it, might not take it, but in which case we could take the next interviewee.
Should we put that as
Right.
part of a motion, or should we, or do
I think we
do
just-
have an understanding of that?
Well, what would you like to do?
Let's have a
Just
motion
do
to
it?
be able
Just
to
do it?
have up to 10 minutes discussion afterwards.
It's gonna happen either way.
Okay, so 45-minute interview and plus 10 minutes of discussion, so somewhere between 45 minutes to an hour,
At the most.
Just,
at the most.
but this is an up to, correct?
Cap,
Up to.
Up
Cap-
to, it doesn't
capped
have
at-
to be. It could
capped
be
at
up
55
to
minutes.
45 minutes and up to
Capped.
10 minutes, yeah.
Okay.
So if it's 20 and 5, that also works.
Yeah, well, whatever it turns out, but no more than 10.
There was mention that it needed
So
to
that would-
start earlier in order for us to kind of wrap at a certain time. What's the earliest that it could start?
7 a.m., does that work for you?
That works for me.
It looks like 8 AM to finish at 4 PM.
8 is the earliest?
It can be, we can start as early as this group would like to.
What time is the building open?
8:30.
It opens at 8 officially, but I'm sure we can open it earlier if you want to start sooner.
I think at 8:30.
No. Why would we
People that are earlier,
want to
but
do
For the
that?
general
I
public.
think you have 8, if you can do 4 from 8 to 12, 12 to 1 lunch, and then 1 to 4 to complete the last,
But then we also have to vote.
yes, as well. But essentially, that'd be the time frame. The earliest.
At the most.
The latest, if you want to push it to 8:30, you'd be finishing at 4:30 with discussion between everything, 30 minutes,
I think we
finishing
should
at
probably
5.
try, shoot for 8:30, could give the place the chance to open up.
Funny, Mr. Fair.
I don't think it's gonna take us that long to do the final vote. We're all gonna know, by the time we get to that point which 5 we like. Shouldn't be too much discussion for that. So what we have decided to do, folks, correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to move the interviews to the 23rd of this month. We're agreeing to 45-minute interviews plus a 10-minute discussion for each candidate. Correct?
Yes.
Start at 8:30.
And you want to start at 8:30? Is that acceptable for
agreeable.
everyone? All right, we start at 8:30.
I'm sure David will send us all emails.
I will summarize everything we're talking about.
Now, you're going to discuss this with the commission too and make
Yes.
sure they don't have any problem with what we're planning to do, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And we're giving it to them a week sooner, so they should be all in favor of this.
I don't know why they care.
A couple
care?
open items that you were discussing. Someone mentioned a time limit per question. Is that something you would like or not?
Well, what happens if we don't get through 14 questions?
We only have 10, if that's a problem, potentially, we only have 10 questions instead.
Everyone has to.
Exactly.
And everyone has to be asked the same question?
In essence, depending on how many questions we have, if there's 45 minutes for them to answer, I'll divide the time. If it's 7 questions, I divide 45 minutes by 7, and once we get to the end of that question's duration, then I call for the next question, or if I'm the guy that's gonna be asking, I just ask the next question.
And I would suggest that follow-up questions may, with the time, the follow-ups happen after all the questions are asked. We'll see how much time there is, and then the follow-ups could be asked based on the previous questions.
Okay? Now, I don't believe we answered the question about whether you want me to ask the question or whether we want to split the questions up among task members. I don't think we settled on that, so what's your thought?
I'd let you,
I think you should let us call the questions. We can do the follow-ups.
Does anybody have an objection?
You're doing a great job.
And then that way, at least we'll control the length of time that each question can take.
But you
Yeah,
have
so
to
that
give
we
us the
get through-
opportunity to follow up.
Yes, but we'll have to play that by ear,
Yeah.
depending on the follow-up.
Sure.
Okay, I think we are agreed.
So I'm sorry,
David, what else do we
what was the
have?
decision on time limit per question?
We didn't give you one.
we didn't-
Okay, we're not doing it, I'm just clarifying.
You can do that.
Well,
We know we have
well,
to go to the
we
vote.
need to know how many,
Well,
we
it's
need to know how many questions will be asked before we can decide time limit to questions.
Well, if 2 minutes per question, if you each ask 2 questions, that's 14 questions. If you include them giving an intro and a closing, at 14, each question could take 3 minutes each to answer, 3 to 4 minutes on a fairly conservative stance,
Doesn't that
depending on the
depend on how many
question.
questions, Dave?
Yes, it does.
It does depend on how many questions, but just generally speaking, in an interview, a question takes 3 minutes to answer, on the average.
I think it's
Well,
hard
that's
for you
about-
guys to tell now without seeing what the questions are. So I think as soon as you know what the questions are, maybe you just advise each candidate, you have 45 minutes, we have some questions to go over, blah, blah, try to be brief, and so on and
Yes,
so forth.
there will be
We'll
instructions
set
to
in
each
something
candidate,
specifically.
and I'll make sure
Questions that we're
that we do
submitting,
that.
some might be similar, one to the other, so you're gonna
Yep.
synchronize them?
I'm sorry?
The questions were submitted, I may submit a question that's very similar to Mr. Smith's question.
And that's what I'll be doing, is making sure that there's not repetition in the questions.
When does your vacation start?
June 18th.
June has, I
Right.
figured.
That's when it begins.
Okay, my next item, the order of the interviewees. What order would you like to see?
Alpha,
Alphabet.
Alphabet, okay.
first name or last name? Last name.
This has been first.
It's
Our
been
list
first.
is first, but
Last
Alpha,
name,
first name, Alpha, last name.
Alpha last.
Doesn't matter.
Alphabetical last name is
Let's do, let's do last name
We're gonna have to do
because,
that before anyway.
because, well, I don't, it doesn't matter to me really, whatever we want to do.
I don't know, we've been doing
I
it by
just
first.
heard a good point. For those who are out of town, we may want to do them earlier in the day so they can get flights home later in the day.
or later.
That's only 2 people.
That's 2 people.
Yeah, so should we give those 2 people the first?
Well, they may want a later one as well, right?
Yeah, they may want the later one because they're staying an extra day. I think you leave that up to them.
Could we leave that up to you guys?
Well,
Or
we
no?
leave it up to David and you all
Okay.
to set up
You
the
all
interview
work
time.
Because they'll have
Good
different
idea.
scheduling,
Good idea.
we'll leave it up to you.
You're gonna talk to these people by phone, or you're going to email communicate with them, David? How do you do
Both.
that?
So we give you the authority to set the order of the interviewees.
Okay. My next item, we started the discussion on whether these conversations can be online or virtual or in person or either one. Is there a decision made on that?
The 2 from out of town are from where and where?
I would need to look back at the resumes, but not driving distance.
Yeah, but
I think Johnson's out of town.
I think this job dictates that they be here for an interview. I mean, unless they're coming from California and they got a big hardship. If they really want the job, then they should really show up. That tells me something right away if there's an issue in showing up.
I agree.
important job. I want to see their face and not on a screen.
Yeah, I'd like to have everybody in person.
Yeah.
And then the way that, once those interviews are conducted, how would this task force like to narrow it down to the people being nominated to the board?
Throw it in a big ball and just pick 2 out and say, everybody else goes.
I have a question. You know, we'll be interviewing 7 people. It's 5 names that we have to move forward, is that correct? Is there a way to ask the commissioners, what if we want all 7 to be moved forward? Is that a possibility? Is that a question we can ask? You never know. I think that maybe they thought that there was gonna be more candidates. So I just wanna, just in case we have 7 that all do so well. Is that a possibility?
I can
That's
bring
a
whatever
legitimate-
questions this task force would like to the board.
I think that's a legitimate question. I mean, it may turn out to be 6, it may turn out to be 7, maybe it turns out to be 3. But the bottom line to it is only 7 people.
Right.
Why should they not want to see all 7 if we all choose for them to see it?
So I can bring that to the board. How would this task force like to have those conversations and potentially narrow it down to bring nominations to the commission?
Vote on it, obviously. Majority.
Similar to how today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, do you agree?
Typically, it's done with a
We
scoring
talked about
system.
this. Let me see if I can find
Say
my
that again,
notes.
Counsel?
Typically, it's done with a scoring system where you score each candidate as they go, so at the end you tabulate and
Yeah, the county commission has stated that they do not want a ranking,
Correct.
so we would not be ranking them in any order.
I think we're giving suggestions or recommendations to the county commission, but at the end of the day, they're the ones that are doing the final interviews and voting. So to your point, if someone checks many of the boxes, I think it's important for the commission to be able to have that ability to interview and then choose what they think makes the most sense. Therefore, you know, I think a vote needs a majority, but potentially it doesn't have to be a majority, it could be, I don't know, one. Sure.
I just want to make sure we're deciding today, if the board says this can only be up to 5 people, how will this task force decide to get it down to up to 5 people
Same way we just voted.
We'll have to vote.
voting?
Just have
Okay.
to vote. If they don't want a scoring method, which is, John's saying they don't want a scoring method.
Ranking.
A ranking.
Ranking
Right.
method, I'm
Do you
sorry.
want it to be majority votes or one
Amongst
third?
us?
Amongst us?
Just amongst us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And last question, at least last question for me. The interviews and both our deliberations are all public consumption, live streamed.
Yes, they will be, because we're doing this on the 23rd, this chamber is booked, so these interviews will take place at the chamber at Vista, and I'll send that address, it's down Okeechobee. Similar format. It
Is that
will,
where our first meeting is?
no, that's a different place. This will be a much bigger room,
You talking
much
about the
more,
zoning board? Where we have our
yes,
zoning-
same place that zoning board does their meetings.
Yeah, good.
So it will be open to the public, it will be live streamed, it will be saved on the website, just like this meeting and our kickoff meeting.
This is the 23rd meeting?
This is the 23rd.
Now, there are two county facilities out in that Vista area. Which one is it? Is it the one that's on the south or on the north?
It's one where the building department is.
Where's that?
Oh,
Do you have the address, David?
That's on,
I'll be sending that
Send in
address
the
to
address.
everybody.
that's
That'll
on
work.
Jog.
That'll work.
I'll send that address, and there will be a public hearing posting for that.
If there's unforeseen circumstances and someone and the alternate cannot make the hearing, as long as there's a quorum, it still works, correct?
Correct.
When it comes to voting, it might be 3, 4. Okay.
Okay.
Would someone be able to, I'm not expecting
Your
to not be here.
alternate would be able to.
Yeah, my alternate won't be here that day, he's overseas, so I'm assuming if something does happen that I can't be here, could I then, well, the way to do anything with this,
Unfortunately,
what it
no,
is.
anyone serving on this task force is nominated by the commission.
Understood.
So if we had a tie, I would suggest to my colleagues, if we had a tie, we just push it forward.
Yeah, to recommend a
That's a
tie,
good
to push it forward if there's a tie. Thank God, expecting around that.
If there's
you
a
never know.
tie.
That's fine.
7 people, I don't know how that could be, but.
Well, yeah, how would we
case
reach it?
somebody's not here.
How would we?
In case somebody's
My
not here.
alternate's not gonna be here for our district, and if, for whatever circumstances, I may not, I mean, I plan to be here, but if for whatever reason I'm not here, I recommend a tie to push forward, so there's no concern.
Unless you're underground, you should be here.
Well,
God forbid.
I intend to be here. But
Oh, you gotta have a sense of humor to know me.
That's good, I like that.
want to mitigate what could happen in advance.
Anything else,
Yeah,
David?
let's not go down that.
What
whole
else do
list.
we have, folks?
Could not be good.
I have, once we conclude this, I have one more item, but I don't want to stop any conversation
Go
that's
ahead.
happening.
Anything, any more discussion? Oh, you have the item to,
Our other item, if there's anyone from the public who would like to speak,
sure.
they are welcome to speak at this time.
Anyone from the public want to speak?
No public.
There's no public.
The most important item of our agenda is to
That's
get
the-
the parking tickets.
And we will take care of parking tickets at
Got
the
it.
end of the meeting. Okay, do you have any other items? Any other items? Okay.
Wait a minute, we have someone who
There's
wants to
one
speak.
public.
I do have a comment.
I'm sorry, we do have someone who would like to speak from the public.
Oh, we do.
Where are we?
Sheriff
Are
Smith?
we,
My alternate
Someone.
wants to speak.
oh,
Hi, my name is Bruce Lewis. I don't think this microphone is on, but if everybody can hear me, I'm an alternate.
We're getting, just want to make sure the mic is
Okay.
picking you up.
Switch at the podium that says East Podium.
There we go. We're live.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Bruce Lewis. I am the alternate for District 7. It was a pleasure for me to sit through this process. I thank everybody in the dais, including staff here today, in their supportive role. You guys have done a splendid job, and so I'm proud to be an alternate for this, and kudos to all of you.
Thank you.
I want to bring up one, I want to make sure we understand what we're doing when
Scott, is
we
your
make
mic
the
on?
final vote from taking 5 people down to 5 people,
Scott, is your mic
from
on?
7 to 5.
Is your mic? There we go, okay.
Okay. My understanding is the way we're going to do it is that each one of us votes yes or no on each candidate. And do I understand correctly that the candidates who receive the most yeses are going to be the 5? Is that everybody's understanding?
That's the decision for the task force.
Yes, for the task force to make a decision. That's how we will take it from 7 to 5. Is that right?
If we have to go down to 7, go down to 5.
Yes.
So we may be able to put all 7 through and then.
Okay. Understood.
That would be a good question if Dave can get that done.
So if we are limited to up to 5, it's those who have the most votes.
Yes, the most yeses.
Most
In an
yeses.
up or down vote by each task force member. And I think we talked about what to do in case of a tie.
Yep.
Okay, right? Well, this has been a good meeting. We've accomplished a lot. I think we've done it in the right way. And I think that everybody on this panel ought to get a big vote of thanks from the county commission for the work that we've done. But we won't deal with that today. Anything else before we adjourn, please? Nothing appearing, we're adjourned, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jay, see you.
Welcome to Inside PBC, where we highlight what's going on inside Palm Beach County. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and everyone can participate in a scavenger hunt. There are missions to complete, points to earn, and the chance to win random prizes while exploring local resources. Everyone is encouraged to wear green on Thursday, May 15th, in solidarity for Get Your Green On. And swimming lessons for residents in the Glades area are starting for free in June and running through mid-September. The lessons are for anyone at least 2 years old and sponsored by the Drowning Coalition of Palm Beach County. And the Palm Beach County Property Appraiser wants homeowners to know all of the tax-saving exemptions available. There is the possibility of qualifying for more than one exemption. For all this and more, visit our website at pbc.gov.